Woo, we're back.
This knife has a straight edge on it, so it's very easy. And maybe in our world here, there lives a happy little mountain.
So we do have Everest back with us, so you may hear him in the background. On with the food, because like I said, it was where we saved most of our money. Now I also want to add in here that Eric and I eat a massive amount of food. We worked out a lot, we are rock climbers, mountain bikers, so the amount of food that we eat is huge. Also, the quality of food that we eat is very good because, as you guys know, Eric is a diabetic, which is not the only reason we eat healthy. Both of us really value health, but it is definitely always in the back of our mind because we can see on his graph when we don't eat very healthy and eat too many carbs. So we try to eat healthy. That can become costly. And we eat a ton. So we just didn't have the time to cook all the time. So we did batch cooking, which does take some prep. On Sundays, we would go to Costco. That's where we buy almost all of our food. He's like holding onto the camera legs down here. We would go to Costco, buy all of our food, and then start prepping for the week. We ate like eggs for breakfast a lot, like prep everything for the week. Sometimes cook it and just throw it in the freezer or get it ready to just be popped into the oven or on the stove. Crock pot was key as well. This camera is going down for sure. But we did batch cook a lot, which means eating leftovers. I don't know how to say this politely, but when people tell me that they won't eat leftovers, I'm just like, you're a different class than I am, because we eat tons of leftovers. That's probably the majority of the food that we eat. We always cook something for dinner and then eat it for lunch the next day, and then sometimes like for dinner again even. But if you can do your life without ever eating leftovers, yay for you, but that's not us at all. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to like just kind of break this down for you guys. So lunch was a big thing. Neither of us ate lunch out, but it would have been very easy for us to both eat out lunch, especially with my job. It was, I was doing home health, so I was driving a lot. So eating out would have been really, really handy rather than packing lunchbox and trying to keep it cold. And then I had nowhere to heat up my food because I was in my car. So it would have been really easy. If I would have swung by a fast food place and spent $7 on my lunch 5 days a week for, let's say, like 50 weeks, because I don't know, I brought my lunch a few times and maybe I didn't eat the other, like, I don't know, my boss bought lunch. That works out to $1,750 a year by just packing my lunch those 50 weeks of the year rather than swinging by and getting fast food. If you add stuff up, I know there's like the coffee thing, like if you don't go to Starbucks, but we don't drink Starbucks anyways, so that wasn't applicable to us. But if you just add up that quantity of food just for lunch over the year, that's, like I said, $1,700, over $1,700, so it really adds up. So that's kind of like wrapped up a lot of the food. Like I said, we ate lentils for 6 months. That was really huge for us. We ate, like, beans are also another way to really stretch your budget out, and they don't mess Eric's blood sugar up too much. Of course, he pre-boluses and things like that because they are more carby than, say, like a chicken breast. But we were really able to, like, fit that entire lifestyle really well. So I mentioned earlier, one of our biggest savers was credit cards, which you have to start planning early. You can't just go get a credit card and be like, okay, I'm going to use these miles to go buy a flight. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. It did take us all year in order to get that many credit card miles, because these credit cards offer initial bonuses, which is where you buy the credit card, you spend a certain amount of money, pay it off every month, never ever ever pay interest because that totally defeats the purpose. You get the credit card, spend the amount of money, pay it off, don't pay any interest, and then they give you a bulk amount of points. So say, for example, one of the credit cards that we've ended up suggesting to a lot of people is the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Now, we have almost all of the Chase cards. We absolutely love them. They have so many more benefits. They have a one-to-one transfer, which was very, very key. We'll have to go into more depth like later. But the benefits of them and the use of them is just the best in our opinion. So the Chase Sapphire Preferred, for example, I just pulled it up here on my phone to give you guys the most current information. It gives 60,000 bonus points after you spend $4,000 on purchases in the first 3 months. Now, what I do not want people to do is go spend $4,000 just because I told you that you could get a free flight to Europe and back on that. Please do not do that. There are ways to meet these minimum spends that will not make you spend any more money than you were already going to anyways. And the way that we did this was we also started preparing for our year of travel, right? So we would do a lot of pay ahead things. For example, like car insurance, you can pay ahead. They let us go ahead and pay ahead a year in advance, which was thousands of dollars to put on this credit card, right? You could do rent. You could pay ahead your cell phone. Basically, anything that you would be purchasing anyways, go ahead and put on these credit cards. And if you get desperate towards the end of the 3 months and you still do not know like what to do, we bought gift cards. We would buy gas cards, things that we knew we were going to use anyways. Now, don't forget, some gift cards will charge you like $5 in order to activate them or whatever, but you just kind of have to do a little bit of research, and we would buy some gift cards if we needed to meet that the rest of that minimum spend. Which is hilarious because you're like buying a gift card with a credit card. I bet you can guess where my little boy is. So, what is 60,000 bonus points anyways, and what does that mean to me? There's a lot of different ways to use them, but let's just talk, like I said, in flights in general and like how we would use them. Basically, we would be able to get at least one round trip flight from the United States to Europe and back, and maybe have a little bit left over depending on like when you're traveling, what season, if you're flexible with your dates, etc. So, because points, just like using cash, it's going to be more expensive if you're wanting to fly on a Saturday than if you're going to want to fly on a Tuesday. Which is another reason long-term travel is cheaper, because we would fly midweek and get these super cheap flights while everybody else was trying to fly on like Friday and Saturday. So long-term travel was way cheaper for us in the long run. So credit card points were huge. I'll put a link down below for the Chase Sapphire Preferred. That's the credit card that I end up suggesting to all of our family, all of our friends, everybody who wanted to take a trip. We actually planned an entire trip for a group of friends of ours, and they ended up getting that credit card, so we got them almost free flights to Europe and back so they could come meet us for a while. So credit cards were huge. I'll have to do a whole video on like how to use the points and everything because it is just super complicated. But basically just find a good credit card. Like I said, the Chase Sapphire Preferred is the one I always suggest, and start building points there. So another big thing, and this one was very sad to me, was to eliminate all reoccurring expenses that you can. One of the big ones that I had to give up, that I did not want to give up, was my gym membership. I love the Zumba classes there. I would go to like, what was it, some sort of boot camp class, all kinds of, I love classes. That was my greatest, like, biggest way of working out. But I had to give that up, and we started doing home workouts, which actually ended up being a lot of fun. Eric and I would literally go to parks. He keeps handing me these balls. Eric and I would go to parks, and he would do pull-ups, and we would do workouts. So we got really creative with our workouts. We did a lot of home workouts. We also would work out with friends. We would look up like free yoga classes and things like that and go to those. Free salsa dancing in the park. It also made us get outside a lot more, which is just a great byproduct of not having a gym membership, because it was just like I would get into kind of a routine of getting off work, going straight to the gym, that sort of thing. So anyways, gym memberships, yeah, coffee, everybody already says that. Haircuts was something else. As you see, like, I have super long hair, so I've just cut my own hair for literally like 5 or 6 years now, because they charge a lot, which is cool. Like, I love going in and being pampered and somebody washing my hair for me, and then like it looking really good when I leave, rather than, You know, nobody ever compliments me on my hair like, oh my gosh, your hair looks good, did you just get it done? Because I've never just gotten it done except for our wedding. So I also cut Eric's hair. But that was something that, at least if you need to get your hair done, maybe just start less frequently. So if you're usually like a once a month kind of person, start trending towards those hairstyles where you don't have to get it done every month, or you know you have like the root part and all of that. Again, you're not going to be able to do a lot of that while you're traveling anyway, so you might as well start working towards it, which I had to do. I had very, very dark hair because I had dyed my hair very dark brown, and then I slowly started transitioning. This is more of my natural hair color. So thrifting or no shopping at all, but you know, sometimes there's like a wedding or an occasion where you really need to go get a new dress or a new outfit or a job or something like that. We shop at a lot of consignment stores, secondhand shops. Facebook Marketplace is huge now, and it's so much easier. Like before, I would go to say like Goodwill or something, and you have to sit and sift through, and it's not well organized, and you know, it's like maybe you'll find what you want, maybe you won't. Things like Poshmark, ThredUp, Mercari, I think is how it's pronounced, Facebook Marketplace, you can go and search for exactly what you want and get those consignment prices without having to go in and really put in a lot of the work. So that's kind of what I'm going towards now. Even with our son, I buy a lot of his clothes secondhand from people, you know, that I know, and you know, I'm kind of more weird about his. But, or just try to eliminate shopping. If you don't go, you won't spend the money. Now, Amazon is like, okay, I'm addicted to Amazon. I love Amazon. I love their customer service. I love the product, everything. So Amazon's one of those things like where you have to be kind of careful. So kind of what I do is I go and let things sit in my cart for a while until I really decide if I need them or not. But in general, if you don't go to the stores, you won't spend the money. You know, find other things to do. What I do not want you to think is I just want you to go home, hole up in your house, and be a hermit for an entire year because you're trying to save your money. Now, there were sacrifices that we had to make, but we still loved our social life. We loved being active. We loved doing stuff. And there were a lot of ways to make that happen, but also stay within our budget. We would split an appetizer when we went out to eat with friends instead of ordering 2 different meals. But we also did a lot of free entertainment that we ended up inviting our friends to, and they loved it because it was something new. It was something free, of course. And it just really like got everybody like kind of thinking differently. Like there was free salsa in the park. We would take people hiking, biking, you know, free music, free jazz concerts. We ended up kind of like pulling our friends into doing stuff like that, which was really fun. So, you know, there's ways to work it into your life without having to just give up everything. And that's what we really tried to do. We always try for a balance of things. Another thing was to just keep dreaming. Like, if you just really focus on it, get on Pinterest and sit and just pin all these places, you'll start to look at your dollars differently. Instead of just looking at your money and just, you know, not really thinking anything about it, like $1 turns into like pad thai in Thailand. And, you know, it's just all these things start adding up. So the more things you put on your bucket list that you want to do in that year, the more motivated you're going to be to make the sacrifices in this year. That's exactly what we did. And a little fun thing that I kind of did too that I thought was fun is whenever I would save money, this was kind of a twofold. I would go ahead and order currency for a country that I knew we were going to, like the Thai baht or the euro for Europe. So it was a way of saving my money. I would go and get like $100, and then of course I wouldn't have that $100 to spend elsewhere, but it's so fun like ordering money and like looking at the different like materials that really like helps you dream like, okay, I'm gonna be spending this next year. And it also forces you to save it too, because you can't spend the Thai baht in the US as far as I know. Alright, this kid is making me let you guys go because he wants me to play with him, but I hope this helped a little bit and answered a couple questions. I'll probably do a second video on this with a ton more, because when you're saving up $15,000 for an entire year, you're going to have more than just a short video's worth of tips. So, hope this helped. We'll see you soon. Stay tuned for the next video, and see you then.